Good afternoon. We're going to call to order now the meeting of September 24th. It is 6 p.m. We're going to start by going around the room. We'd like all the members to introduce themselves, speaking into the microphone. Mark, we're going to start with you.
I'm Mark Hammis.
Laura Powell.
I'm Elizabeth Jones. I'm the chair.
Jane Camp.
Chuck Brad.
All right, next, I'm going to allow the city staff to introduce themselves.
Brad Callender, Planning and Zoning Director.
Laura Wilson, Code Administration.
And next, we have the approval of the agenda. And I'm going to ask, has everyone had a chance to review the agenda? Okay. I'm going to ask that all the members show, well, I want to ask first that do we have a motion to approve the agenda as submitted? Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Can all members show approval with a raise of a hand and validation into the microphone? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Next, we will have the approval of the minutes, and we're going to do the same thing. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes of this past month, August 2024?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any changes or corrections to those minutes? No. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Great.
Okay. Can I ask for a raise of your hand and validation into the microphone?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
motion carried. I don't see that we have any old business. So the first item of new business is 305 Millage Avenue, new construction, single-family residence.
Yes. So as Elizabeth said, the first item of business is in the East Church Historic District at 305 Millage Avenue. The request is for a new single-family residence on a lot that is currently vacant and is undeveloped. The lot was originally part of 400 East Church Street. As you can see here, it was all part of this original lot. It was subdivided earlier or within the last year, and now they're requesting to build a new house.
Laura, before we get too far into this one, I know we were going to mention that Chuck, I believe you said that you wanted to recuse yourself from this one? Okay. Just wanted to get that on the record.
Excellent. So I want to go over briefly some of the characteristics of the East Church Historic District. Most of what is built, this would be the western edge, the closest to downtown. It was developed in the late 19th century, so 1880s, 90s. It's dominated by the folk Victorian style. There's a lot of deep, wide front porches, interior chimneys, horizontal siding, front-facing gables. These are just two examples along East Church of the style. And this is the house plan submitted by the applicant. You'll notice that it's got vertical siding on it, not a very wide or deep front porch. It does have a front-facing gable, but there is also a shed dormer on it. It does have a chimney, but it is not connected to the inside of the house. I think it's maybe for an outdoor fireplace off the back porch. And there is a note in your packet here that although it's presented in brick, it would not be done in brick, it would be done in siding. So because of that, staff recommendation is to deny the request for the house based on this plan submitted. That's all that I have, but I invite the applicant to come up and say some words. If you could introduce yourself for the record.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is John Coveran. I'm the area manager for My Home Communities. I actually built Chuck's home, and what a lovely home it is, and I would love to keep the same facade going through. The reason why we actually chose this facade is because the homes that are pre-existing to the right, if you are facing it from Millage Avenue, apologies, they all appear to have that same look. Not like 400, but if you go to 306, 307, down to 309.
You're referring to these homes here down on Millage
Yes,
Avenue?
ma'am, absolutely. Fixing these facades to have horizontal siding versus board and batten, simple simple tasks. I kind of assumed that my company sent me here to figure out where everybody's head was. We would then make some sort of corrections to this and then have a resubmittal. Thank you for my time and hearing me.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Before we ask if there are any questions, I did want to just, and thank you very much for that. We appreciate that. I did want to touch on what the preservation primer, and I don't know if you've had a chance to look at any of that. And Laura, I would ask that maybe you could send him these pages that I'm going to refer to.
Sure.
Page 54 of our preservation primer details our guidelines for new construction, and it states the design of new buildings and what they call infill development should be influenced by the character of the historic district. And these guidelines include, defining the area of influence, so it's going to be those homes, like directly, beside that home and around that home. All of the historic homes, and to recognize the facade elements, the scale of porches, windows, doors, et cetera. And then they talk about basic design concepts and how they relate to the district: proportion, pattern, height, mass, and form. And how to incorporate the architectural elements of significance in the district. And they do emphasize that new buildings, they should not attempt to create a new historical work, but they want to keep some of those elements of the district. So if you could just, she'll send you those pages, and if you could just look through them. Yes. No, you're fine.
I have, forgive me for just catching up. Someone was supposed to be in my place, so I'm standing in temporarily. I did get a chance to sit on the bench 20 minutes ago and read through this, and I have seen in black and white that this does not match this whatsoever. I do have one question about it says on here, no interior chimney. But on, in the statement, it was stating that the Victorian-style homes had interior chimneys. So would we need to change that aspect? Every other aspect needs to be changed, but that part, does that need to change?
That was merely a suggestion if you wanted to incorporate a chimney into the design,
Okay.
that it would be one of the characteristics. But like Elizabeth was saying, we don't want it to look like an exact copy, so no need to put all the elements in that are in the district. It was just,
Got it. Just wanted to be clear, so when I submit this next one, there's not a follow-up.
No, it wouldn't, it doesn't need, you don't need to create, like the primer says, new buildings should not attempt to create a new historical work, but you do want to incorporate some of the elements of the historical buildings in the district, and as much as you can, you're not making an exact replica of the
Right.
historic buildings.
The front porch is currently less than 50% of the front facade, so increasing that in its length. The vertical, we would go to horizontal. We could get rid of the shed dormer windows. We could change the aspect of the roof of the gable. The cornice returns on the gable, on the front gable, we can get rid of those. And then the only thing it says the appearance of a two-story structure. I know that you say not replicating. Is there a certain percentage of these checks that I have to check off, or do I need to hit all of these aspects?
Laura, can we go back to that photo? Look at where we're referencing the appearance of the two-story structure. Do we have the?
so I was on that. So the design of this is very boxy. So it looks like a two-story versus this Queen Anne over here. More than likely, they'd probably have some of that built out or could have it built out. But because it's more of a ranch style elongated, it looks more of a story and a half visually.
Understood. So the longer front porch protruding out past on the first floor with a shortened width upstairs
Right.
would give it
Yes,
1.5 story kind of.
exactly.
Understood.
Yeah, so if you had something added over here,
Yes, that's definitely kind of
yeah.
what we would do. That's it.
Does anybody here have questions or thoughts?
Oh, I think you got it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Does anybody out here have questions or thoughts? Okay. Yeah, what do we think, as far as a motion? Do we want to table it and then come back with plans? Is that,
That's what it sounds like. This
Yeah, I
sounds like
think
the
that-
applicant's willing to make some changes to be willing to meet the historic preservation's intent.
would that work for y'all if we table it and then when you're ready to come back with plans? Let's see, how much time would y'all need to work on the plans? Oh, that's not long at all, okay. So we could table it until next month? Yeah. Okay, let's see, what's the date for that meeting? Let's look. Is that, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, is that the 28? No, 29, 22nd, you're right. Okay, so October 22nd. Does that sound right?
yes.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to table it until October 22nd.
Okay, do I have a second? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Thank you so much. We will see you on October 2nd. Thank y'all so much for, October 22nd, I'm so
I think
sorry.
one other suggestion, I think Laura and I mentioned too, is that, you have a little wiggle room on the lot because your setbacks are pretty small. So if you have to push yourself to the edge of the setbacks, I'd say go for it, because you can. Yeah, you can go all the way to the edge, right, to give yourself a little bit more width if you needed to produce a wider-looking structure. Yeah. And the driveway too, potentially. You got a little bit of wiggle room there. You can make something happen there pretty good. All right.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
If y'all have questions, just shoot an email over. All right, thank you. You too. Okay, let's see, next on the agenda, we have 135 South Broad Street signage.
Yes. So this property is at 135 South Broad Street. It is in the Monroe Commercial Historic District. It was most recently the Winged Foot, the running store, and a new tenant is moving in. And because of that, they would like, obviously, to change the signs to denote the new business, which is going to be called Nerd Street. It is I'll let the applicant go into detail about what kind of store it is going to be. But they're going to be doing some, and maybe have possibly already started, some things that fall under maintenance, repairing rotten wood and things like that. But they're here to get their sign approved. So if you'd like to come up, introduce yourself, and talk about the project.
Thank you for your time. My name is John Hawkins, the co-owner of Nerd Street LLC, which will be doing business as Nerd Street Games. The idea behind the business is to be able for families and friends, whoever, to come in and play board games, to play little card games, something interactive with community. And it is not meant to be a massively profitable business, as these are not historically, profitable, big profit centers. So it's more of a community outreach. We're very excited to be able to connect with the Monroe community. And so I was raised by a genealogist historian, and so I was very conscious of looking at it and saying, okay, we need to make sure that everything looks like the surrounding areas. My beautiful wife has helped pick out the exact colors, which we've submitted, and I hope that the Photoshop job is at least demonstrative of what we're trying to accomplish. So thank you so much for seeing us today.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
I know it's hard to see in that first picture, but I believe what I was sent earlier, you'll be opening up, there'll be windows exposed.
There are windows right there in that first picture. Directly above it, there used to be windows. We're going to restore those.
Got that.
Right now, there are black pieces of wood, which you can see in the second picture where the people are running. Those are actually covering up
Yes.
glass.
I love that.
If you look all the way down the road, there is glass windows, boards for us, glass windows, and we got up behind there and realized the glass windows were broken and merely boarded up.
Okay.
So we would like to repair that and restore it to its original As far as I know, original design, as far as I've been able to determine from looking at old photos. It would also put everything in line. I don't know if we need the Historic Society's approval of this, but we're also going to have I think they're called Cobra lights. All of the other buildings have them, and ours doesn't. So we stand out in that we are different from both of our neighbors on either side. So we're going to try to match. The color will be different, the sign will be different, but other than that, we want the building structure and design to match.
Laura, do we need to add those lights now?
Yes, you would need to add the lights. 'cause I
Can we
didn't
add
think
those
about the
on now
lights.
to this agenda?
Yes. And then the other thing is in this picture, if you could touch on whether or not you are want to paint that brick.
Yes, the color is called agreeable gray, and the lower color is called iron ore. Use those exact color codes on here using Photoshop. I'm a graphic design background, and we've submitted the color codes as well. And I have plenty of samples if anybody would like to look at them, the actual paint samples. We did look in the surrounding area, and this does match colors both across the street and farther up and down on the road. So yes, ma'am, I would like to paint or stain those bricks to the aforementioned colors.
Will the actual Nerd Street sign be painted on?
No, ma'am,
If that's
we're looking to have a more authentic street sign style sign stand off from there, and then the lights would theoretically shine down on it and illuminate it.
I looked at agreeable gray for my house color, so,
It is the best named color. Very agreeable.
yeah.
Well, I'm a little nervous about painting the historic brick just because of the water
If it helps,
issues.
the building that we are part of immediately to the left, Epiphany, is painted white and black. And we are the same building. As a matter of fact, there was a door between the two that we had to repair. I have numerous pictures of the amount of repair we've done inside. I had friends from the movie studio come and repair the 124-year-old walls that were damaged when the dance studio moved out. When they pulled out the mirrors and destroyed the walls, there were holes. There were over 400 holes before I quit counting, about 50 of which were about this big around. I could put my fist in there. We saw the shiplap going all the way up, if that's the appropriate term. I went in there and we used concrete repair to put them back to the original style. I'm looking at restoring the original floor in the back. We have looked at possibly renovating it to where it is more like as far back as we can get it and still be modern and functional. I'm trying to restore the building. We've spent a little bit more than I thought we would, which so far I think we're at a ballpark tune of about $25,000 in restoration on it thus far, including labor and material. So I want you to know there's a lot of love going into this, and if the owner, Mr. Garapati, is ever interested in selling it, I'll buy it off of him and we'll restore it as close to the original as we can.
Does anybody have any thoughts?
It'd be nice to have the original brick, but it's not.
If it's any assistance, I would look to paint it, not stain it. Staining would be a permanent color change. Painting can be removed with a power wash.
Just historic brick, just painting it and any kind of, even removing it with any kind of,
About,
anything abrasive on it.
as
just
far as we
makes
can
me
tell,
cringe.
about 60% of South Broad is painted.
Well, I was not on the commission then, or it would not be.
So I don't know if we want to, if we're setting a new tone for things should not be painted going forward, we can make those changes if need be. But the inside of the store is painted those colors already. And so it's matching the inside and the outside, which is preferable for us. It's not going to stop us from going into business, and I'm not going to make a big yell about it. But it would seem lopsided for everyone else to be approved. It's the old HOA deal, right? The other guys have this kind of fence, why can't we? So I understand that there may be some hesitancy.
Laura?
I could have a comment. Looking at this picture here, to me, this looks like very modern mortar versus historic mortar. It's a little bit too white to be historic mortar. So it's possible that this has already been altered and is not truly the historic brick. Just something to consider, combined with, like the applicant said, half the building is already painted.
Might be newer.
Right.
If I may add, there are two different types of brick at least. The front, what we call showcase windows are on the left and right of the door, are a different style brick already, which is difficult to tell because obviously a darker color's been applied there. I do have other photos if it helps to review. So. And again, of course, we'll abide by your decision and be fine and carry on. But we would like to make it look nice. Right now, there is a lot of, I'm not sure if cleanup would do enough to bring that to a nice look at this point because there's been a lot of negligence, let's just put it that way.
The brick above the people running, looks like it's either been patched or it needs, something went on there.
And if you do go to the store, because I went and looked, there are two different types of brick. You know, like what you said, as far as it was a patch job at some time. Yes, ma'am.
Any more thoughts? Okay. I think that's great. I think that's going to look really nice.
I love windows. They need to,
Right, and my wife as well said some natural
Sure.
light would be nice. We're going to have to do a little bit of effort because the inside has been also, frankly, a little neglected as well. And so behind that, it's just another box of drywall that's been put in. So we're going to have to go in and clean up a lot of old glass. Apparently, there was a florist there at some point. There are things kind of piled in there. And we've been cleaning out broken glass and dust and things from every nook and cranny. So once that's been turned into glass, we're going to have to remodel the inside to let the light come in. So.
Do we want to go ahead and make a motion? Okay, do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we accept his recommendation for what he wants to do to this building. And in my opinion, I think the agreeable gray will be fine since that is two different kinds of brick. And you would be making it one kind with the paint on it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
I have a question
We
before you vote.
Yeah.
Does this also include the lighting request that he had?
All right, do you want to include the lighting?
Yes, and the lighting. If it match, I mean, the others have it, I mean,
Right.
keep it in line.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carried.
Thank you very much. I'm
Thank
very
you.
appreciative of your
I
time.
love games too. I'm
Thank you. I
excited
know.
about that.
Look
think it's
forward to
great.
coming in.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
And just for clarity, we hope to have sort of a grand opening, an official opening, whatever the first, October 1st or thereabouts, if it's not a Sunday.
Oh, wow.
And so we'll
Tuesday.
probably have a soft opening this coming week. We just open the doors and kind of see what it's like for people coming in.
A
So
wonderful addition to the community.
thank you so much. We're
Great.
really
Thank
looking
you.
forward
Thank
to
you
it.
so much.
And now that this has been passed, I feel safe to say we're going to be joining the Historic Society. I didn't want to say anything beforehand. It just didn't seem appropriate. So thank you all so much.
We love it. Thanks so much for coming in.
Appreciate you both.
We're not the Historic Society.
I apologize. Is that the wrong term?
Historical Society, yes,
Historical Society?
yes, of Walton County, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of people think we're the same thing, but we're not.
I apologize, I did not know.
Okay.
One of the main places I lived where we joined was in Charleston, and I was very proud to be part of that. I didn't realize it was sort of a multiple in this area. There must be a lot of,
There's a historical society, Walton County, and then there's also a Monroe Museum. There's a lot of different historical organizations.
there's a lot of history here.
There is.
There's
Thank you
a
so
lot
much.
of,
Thank you both.
Y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you very much. All right, next on the agenda, we have our adjournment. And do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. This concludes the HPC meeting of September 24th, 2024.
Ding, ding.